everyone, welcome to another edition of Toddster's Magical Mystery Review. And in case you're following me, I usually post reviews every Monday and Friday. But I thought maybe once a month I could do a little extra review. Maybe take a look at the Beatles movies and some documentaries and anything that's worth mentioning. And so for my first extra review, I thought I'd take a look at this movie here, the very first one, Hard Day's Night. Came out in 1964 on United Artists and directed by Richard Lester. And of course, this is one of the best movies ever made. Well, in my opinion, the best movie. So how did this movie came about? Well, actually, take you back a little bit before to October 1963, and by that time, Beatlemania was in full swing in England, and they thought of there were talks about them making a movie, and but a very good one, because if you remember, at that time, the pop movies, like the Elvis movies and well, especially in England, the Cliff Richard movies, they weren't, they didn't have any good plots. And so what happened was Brian Epstein struck a deal with United Artists, and managed to get a 3-picture deal. And so Walter Shenson, who was the producer, was called in to help make this movie, and he brought in Richard Lester, the director, who worked with the Goons, and if you remember, Peter Sellers, Spike Milligan, Harry Seacombe, and all that, and the Beatles were big Goon fans, and Alan Owen was brought in to do the screenplay, and he was familiar with the Liverpool accent and the Liverpool talk, and he spent a couple days with them on tour to Ireland, I think, and sort of pay attention to each of their personalities, so to speak. Yeah, and it took about almost 2 months to make the movie, and about around $500,000 to produce, and in fact it was probably less than what was spent on the very first Beatles album. So if anybody hasn't seen the movie before, just beware. There might be some spoilers, because I'm going to talk about the movie, and so it starts with the lads being chased by their fans, as the title song plays, and so they're being chased to the train station, and when we do get in the train, we're introduced to a whole bunch of characters, most notably Paul's grandfather, John McCartney, played by Wilford Branwell, who at that time was doing a show called Steptoe and Son, which was later adapted for Stanford and Son. And in case you haven't seen the show, he's usually referred to as a dirty old man, but in this movie he's referred to as a clean old man. What a clean old man! And also we have Norm, their manager, played by Norm Rossington, and the roadie Shake, played by John Junkin, and also a couple of schoolgirls. One of them happened to be Pattie Boyd, later to become Pattie Harrison, and of course Patty Clapton. And so after they found Paul's grandfather, who sort of wandered about on the train and almost got engaged, so to speak. the lads play a card game, and so it entertains the schoolgirls, and with I should have known better. That's before they leave the train station to their limo, and they go into their hotel room, and Norm persuades them to read all their fan mail and reply each and every one. And so yet they sort of escape to a discotheque, and so dance about, and just chill, and while Paul's grandfather sneaks into a casino with Ringo's invitation, and so it gets into some mischief every now and then. And so after a little meeting with the press, and they start rehearsing their little live TV performance with the TV director Victor Spinetti, which we'll see in a couple other Beatle movies, and so in between rehearsals, they manage to escape from their manic schedule where they jump around the field. Like "Can't Buy Me Love" plays through that sequence, and they sort of go off on their little adventures on their own, and John bumps into this lady who is mistaken for someone else, some other famous person, and George accidentally ends up in a producer's office, and is offered to star in this little show, and with this actress, and sort of knocking the whole thing. She's a well-known drag, and also he's offered to wear these clothes, and the dead grotty. And Paul's grandfather, meanwhile, sort of convinces Ringo to go out to the real world and sort of parade a bit, as he said. Sort of explore life, so to speak, and that's what Ringo does. He sort of explores life, but under this a bit of a disguise. Walks by a canal where he meets a young boy, a fellow deserter, and he tries to have a little quiet time at a pub, and and all sort of hell breaks loose, and he runs into the police, after he unsuccessfully helps the lady out through a construction site, and so it takes in, and he's taken into custody, and Paul's grandfather is also arrested, after trying to sell fake autographs, to the fans outside, and but he managed to sneak out and runs up back to the lads, who they're all worried about Ringo, where is he and all that, and so but they managed to rescue him just in time for the TV live performance. And if you can, try to spot Phil Collins in there, in the crowd. And so after that, they run into a helicopter where it flies through the sky for yet another adventure. So basically, that's the movie for you. And let's talk about my favorite scenes. And there's a bunch of great scenes. Most notably, John's little World War II reenactment in the bathroom, and while George helps sort of shaves the mirror to help sort of teaches Shake the roadie how to shave properly. As you said, he's come from a long line of electricians, and also the goofiness in the dressing room. When John says that famous line, "I now declare this speech open," and snips the tape off, and in case and in fact that's actually their actual tailor, Dougie Millings, who's holding the tape, and John snips it. So what do I think about my closing? Well, first of all, this movie's been been re-released, over the years, and this is the current release, the Criterion collection, and it's it looks great and all that, and all bunch of special features, couple of documentaries that was made. Also the running, jumping, standing still film, which Richard Lester made with Peter Sellers, which sort of influenced influenced this movie a bit. So what do I think about this movie here? Well, as I said, this is, in my opinion, the best rock movie ever, if not the best movie ever. And even though I've seen it thousands of times, I believe, it's still, every time I see it, it still feels like I haven't seen it before. There's little bits that pop up that I haven't seen, and of course this sets the template of music videos, and in fact MTV once sent Richard Lester a parchment declaring he was the father of MTV, back when the M stood for music, remember? And Lester demanded a blood test once he got that, and and it has been imitated and sort of mocked in many ways. The Monkees was basically based on this movie. Whenever you see a Monkees episode, it's usually you usually see bits and pieces of Hard Day's Night in it, and I remember seeing an Animaniacs cartoon where they sort of lampoon the movie. Whether you're a Beatles fan or not, you will still be entertained by this. And so ranking, it's 5 Beatles out of 5. And in case you're wondering what the 5th Beatle is, it's Richard Lester. And so yeah. So he deserves a lot of credit in these movies. So that's my extra review, Hard Day's Night, the movie. So go check it out. And so my name is Toddster, and you've just watched another magical mystery review, an extra review, so to speak. And so until then, toodaloo, bye.